Hello, everyone. It's Catherine Dager, and I'm so glad to be with you tonight. So, I got so many great comments about last week when I was working with all of you about negativity and how it permeates the team. And it's so tragic when you let that take hold because everybody starts to go down with that. So this week, I want to really focus on something that, again, we don't think about this often, but, have you ever found that you want to make a positive influence on your team, but you feel like you're being a cheesy cheerleader? You feel like what you're saying and how you're acting is just not really authentic. And they can see right through you. And so it has a really distasteful feel for them, and they know they're being manipulated or think they are being manipulated. So what I want to do tonight is really show you how to be authentically positive and create a positive work environment so that you are totally feeling the positivity and seeing the results with your team. So you know what? The biggest mistake leaders make is they tolerate negativity. They let it take hold. And I know deep down inside, it's out of fear of setting off emotions and reactions and having the whole team kind of erupt. And the reason for that is that negativity has it's seductive. It grabs our attention, and it's because our brain is really sensitized to responding or reacting to negativity all the time. So the opportunity that we've got all the time is to really focus on what are we doing, what are we saying, and when someone is being negative, how do we get them back on track without setting off these reactions? And the consequences of not knowing these 3 tips could actually cost you, again, the stability on your team, negativity from your customers. You're going to get feedback from that, and possibly having people leave because they don't want to stay in a toxic environment. And I know that happens a lot. It's almost like the employees fire the company because they just don't want to be around negativity. So everyone suffers, including your customer. So imagine what it would be like if you created a positive and sustainable workplace, and that wouldn't you have a highly engaged group and that really want to support the results and not tear things down? So I've been doing this for 30 years. My company that I've had for 32 years is Profitivity, and I've been creating workplaces where people can't wait to go to work every day, and that has a huge impact on profit. It has a huge impact on people's retention because they stay and they want to invest themselves in the company. So it becomes collaborative and innovative. And when you have an environment like that, it's really important to know how to sustain that because life happens. Occasionally negative things happen and people do react. They're human. So what I want to do is make sure that you as a leader know so much about what you can do to impact in a positive way without being manipulative or cheesy. And, I do makeovers, literally, of the workplace, and it takes about 6 months, but we want to make sure that everything we do, that we structure it, and then we create a wonderful environment so that we have it reinforced by mentors the whole time. And when you go through, it's like a reinvention. We use the people that are working there as the catalyst for telling us, where can we create positivity? Where can we create something that's a momentum and to really differentiate your business from your competitors? And when it comes from grassroots, when it comes from your employees, it really takes hold. So we also are really, for 30 years, I've been going to, in fact, I just did a podcast today in Sweden. I have clients in Sweden, and Ireland, and Russia, and all over, London, just all over North America, Canada. And what I do is I create these structures where people know what good looks like, and they know what's expected of them. So when you don't have something like that in place, then we've got to rely on the leader to take that team and head it in a direction toward a desired result. But along the way, issues pop up. Whenever you have more people doing stuff, it gets sometimes it gets it's a little crazy. So there are 3 things you can do. Hi, Dustin. Oh my gosh, how are you? I haven't seen you for a long time. But when you have people, doing what you want them to do, and they're going in the same direction, they know what's expected of them, everyone wins. So these are 3 tips, and I'm going to start off by saying mistakes that leaders make. And then we'll switch it to what you can do. So here it is. Keeping it positive, even if things are not all perfect, is really, really important, and it starts with you. Do you know that 85 to 90% of your communication is non-verbal? So as the leader, people are watching you. So you need to have a positive facial expression and open body language and put your shoulders back and walk with a quick pace. So they are watching you. Now, you're not leading by example. I don't want you to get into that because you can't. That's for children. And they're not going to do what you do just because you're the boss. But basically what it is they're going to see you and watch you, and they're going to want you to walk your talk. So if you want them to be positive, you need to be positive too. So the way that your tone of voice comes across, when you're asking them to do things instead of telling them to do things, if you're being parental, they're going to call you on it. What I notice is people don't have role models after a certain age. What they do want is for people of authority to be who they say they are and to have a consistency. So does that make sense? I think it's really important. So walk your talk. If you want them to be on time, you be on time. No exceptions. Everyone's held to the same ground rules. And also, if you see someone doing things that you have decided is a standard, don't just go, well, it's expected, that's what we're paying them for. And I hear leaders do that a lot. That's not, you want to make a big deal about the behavior that you see around you that's going well. See, our brain is so tuned to find a flaw, to find what's not working, and it just gloms onto that. And the truth is that doesn't serve anyone. What we want to do is look for the positive things that are happening. Look for things you can be grateful and make a big deal. I don't know where this came up, but some people go, well, I don't want her to have a big head. And I'm like, what in the heck does that mean? How many people on this planet get enough positive feedback? How many times do you get pats on the back or high fives? So we create an environment where there's hi Dawn, where there's people that are just cheering each other on, and every time somebody does what you would want them to do in the way that you want them to do it, it's called managing their behavior, reinforcing the behavior you want. And if you walk by it and don't acknowledge it, it will go away. I promise it doesn't work like that. You need to acknowledge what does work well. And I call that, what does good look like? I spend days and months working with companies to help them define what behavior they do want, because there's so many assumptions. And that also creates negativity when we assume somebody has what we called common sense. I mean, what is that? What's common anymore? Literally, we don't grow up necessarily around dinner tables anymore. And that's where I thought common sense originated. So we're out there in the world with 4 generations. All 4 of them have a totally different approach to life. They have all kinds of different skills. Like Dustin, I remember you are just amazing in the industry because you're innovative, you're analytical, and the innovation just drives your business, which I think is so fantastic. And I just admire you so much. And it also, it's such a great thing to wake everyone up to this collaboration possibility. That is a positive experience. So here's the other thing, tip number 2. Give real feedback in behaviors, in specific behaviors, and come from first person. I saw, or I know, I heard you say. So when you're giving praise or when you're giving this reinforcement, make it really valid so that there's evidence that people have seen what it is you saw. So for example, I remember I use these training cards, these self-teaching training cards with my garden center clients, and it's so helpful to have those in place for the associates that come in and work on the seasonal level. So with these training cards, one of them is how do you load a vehicle with then when it's something that's got dirt so they learned how to put a liner in the vehicle. They learned how to place a tree in there so the tree didn't get all messed up, and the owner watched this brand new person do it exactly the way it was written, and just said, oh my gosh, I didn't teach them, the training card taught them. So when they had a huddle, the owner went nuts over telling this young person, oh my gosh, I watched you take the trunk liner. I watched you carefully place that tree. You didn't place it in you placed it, so the ball was at the bottom so that they could take it out easily. And you also recommended mulch. Perfect. It was absolutely perfect. So guess what behavior that person will do over and over. Also, it's not just good job, where you go, I don't know what's good. What did I do that was good? So every time you're going to give some kind of, hi, Donna. Ah, so good to see you. I love you too. So when you have something really wonderful that you see people doing, instead of overreacting, what you want to do is be very authentic and say, this is what I saw. This is what I heard. Now, here's what you can do to make it even stronger, and say, and I personally appreciate that. I personally watch that customer smile. I know that customer is going to come back. So if you add your own feelings about it, that person is never going to forget that experience. And how many opportunities do you have to do that every day? And I've heard it being said, and I think it's a wonderful phrase, manage by walking around and finding out what is right, what's going right, instead of focusing on the negative. Now, I know as a business leader, you really want to control things. That's noble. It's wonderful. But what people get caught up in is trying to do it all themselves. And I was just on a conference call with a company that's in Massachusetts, and we're designing this training system for them. And it's almost like they rather do it themselves than teach someone else how to do it because they're afraid they'll do it wrong. So to me, we want to get all of that wisdom out so people know that they're doing it exactly the way you'd like it to be done. And it's in writing. So if you don't have it written down so that they can teach themselves, give me a call. Let's get that started. It's absolutely powerful and empowering. The other thing is, I'm going to tell you from a psychological standpoint, employees love to be heard. It is really a demonstration of respect. It's a demonstration of honor to be heard. And we don't stop and face each other when we're communicating, especially when it's busy and we're in a rush. So I'm just going to say, as a leader, you can slow down. When someone has a question, stop, face them. Breathe. Let them get their question out. Thank them for asking you a question, even if it's giving feedback of something went wrong. Thank them for telling you that. And just by doing that, can you see how authentic that is? It's going to be absolutely wonderful for this to be a way of life. And then, honestly, your employees can catch each other doing wonderful things and saying, wow, I just learned something by watching you. And that becomes a very positive root inside of the team. So people, again, they're looking forward to each day with, wow, what am I going to learn today? And what kind of experiences am I going to have with my teammates and with my customers that really is positive, so that when I go home in the evening, I feel great about my contribution and I feel great about myself. So the third and really important tip is communication greases the wheel. You know, people love, very high motivational part of this, people love to be in on things. So this is really an important motivational aspect. And when I work with retail companies, I know there's no structure in retail. Anything can happen every single day. Isn't that true, you guys? And so what's really fun is that, you know, you can roll with the punches and you can make great things happen, and the possibilities are endless. And that makes it an exciting adventure every single day. So when things are going well, when you have great results, it's really great to in the group huddle, have that person tell the group what they did first, that's behavior, what action they took second, what action they took third, how their brain was working, what questions they were asking, so that they can coach themselves to do exactly the same things again. And in that way, too, they're sharing their insights with the team. So it's not all about you. It's about getting the team to learn from each other. And don't you think that has a momentum all on its own? It really is. It's absolutely great. And I recommend highly, especially heading into busy seasons, that you set goals as a team. And just make them up every day. What are we going to do? What are our sales results going to be? How many items per transaction can we create? What can we ask customers today? What can we do to support them that we haven't really offered before? What events would they like to participate in? I mean, make every day yummy so that those customers really know that you are serving them. And really and truly, if there is dissension on your team, don't walk over it. Address it. You can say, we don't do that here. Gossip is not acceptable. Positive facial expressions are really critical. That's 85 to 90% of our communication with each other is our facial expression, our body language, and the actions we're taking, and the tone of voice. So all of that has a real place, and we want every person working with you to take responsibility for their expression of themselves and to be conscious of their facial expression. So, and if you didn't see last week, there was a great one on negativity. So go back and look on that on my Facebook Live, and you'll see it. You know, there's so many tips on ways to turn that frown upside down and how critical it is to everyone. So I have had tremendous results doing this with companies. I've had people that were, let me say, the hardest cases, where I was in Chicago last week and I had a woman, the business owner, that she was negative and her husband was really positive, and everybody's asking me, can you fix her? Can you turn her around? And I said, no, what I'm going to do is remind her of what she already knows. And that's my role. That's my job, just to remind of what everybody knows. So, and that is, you know, that negativity really does not have a place in our environment. And guess what? In 2 days, she had a smile on her face. She just shifted her whole demeanor. And all of the people that have been working with her, some up to 20 years, they looked at me and go, how did you do that? And I'm going, well, now you know how to reinforce it. So that behavior is not acceptable, or bump a grump. And we just have such a great time creating on purpose a positive environment where people love to come to work and they love to be innovative. And yes, Donna, to make every day yummy. That's what we want to do with our lives, right? And who's in control of that? Is it somebody else, or is it really up to us? So I'm just going to also invite you to start looking at what behaviors can you reinforce. Really important. What can you acknowledge that people are doing that no matter what your position is, you're bringing to their awareness that they are really on track. And we want to make that the focus and not having anything else off track. The other thing is that it starts with you. Notice your facial expression. Keep it positive. And really invite your people to say, hey, turn that frown upside down, bump a grump, come back. Because sometimes we do zone out. That's part of life. So the other thing is that one of the parts that is so important is to speak in behavior, what you saw and what you heard. I saw, I heard, and this is the results that I experienced. Well done. I appreciate it so much. And you give your own feelings about it. So, and have the person clarify the steps they did themselves and give them an applause. You can't grow their head too big. I don't know where that came from. So on Thursday, I'm going to be doing another Facebook Live. I'm going to do them every Tuesday and Thursday as much as I possibly can. Hi, John. Oh, my gosh. Great to see you. So I'm going to be doing Tuesdays and Thursdays, and my world is about sharing. Well, really, it's starting a movement to shift the workplaces all over the world into a place where people love to be every single day. And I'm writing a book, and I got a big book deal, which is so exciting. It's from lackluster to dazzling, and I'll tell you the rest of it when we finish the title. And we are going to really be working with everybody and making sure that, hey there, so great to see you. Thank you, Donna. But one of the things that is so important is that we have this shift in our culture, because Forbes did one of these incredible surveys last year, 2016, and they came out with the results that 80% of all employees are not engaged in their job. And 82% of the managers don't feel engaged. They don't feel passionate about what they're doing. Well, I'm saying, what percentage of your life is about work? And if you are not getting juice out of it every day and getting some food for your soul, it is not right. So we're going to put that as a movement, and I want you to be a part of that movement and invite everybody you know to my Facebook Lives. And also I'm archiving all of these so that you can look back and see all the other things. And sometimes, yeah, I'll repeat a few things, but you know what? It doesn't hurt. We need to remember to stay positive, to stay authentic, and really to be present with all the possibilities that are right in front of us right now. So next week, on Thursday, I'm going to do how to shift the workplace from fear-based to phenomenal, even if you're not the boss. Wouldn't that be a great thing to do? And I have something that I'm going to invite you to, a call to action, and that is I'm doing a webinar on hiring next week. It's going to be Tuesday night at 5 o'clock. I'm so excited. And it is how to avoid the 3 biggest hiring mistakes and create your dream team. And some of you know, John, I love the topic of hiring, don't I? It's so powerful. It's so important to get the right people on your team, and most people aren't educated in how to do that. So join me on that webinar. I'll post the link, and I want you to be there too. And just invite you to invite people and make comments. And if there's a topic that you would like me to address, please write a comment and leave it for me, because I'm here to make this happen. I'm here to change to put, I would say, humanity back into the workplace, to create, again, remind people of things that really make them feel good all day long, so they can take that priceless, great feeling home to their family and bring that priceless feeling to work every day, rather than dragging back and forth this negativity and having it wear their soul down. So please join me more and send your friends to this, and I'm going to send out a boost on this too in my Profitivity Inc. Page. So please join me, and thank you so much for being with me tonight. It's great to see you, and I'd love to see you in person too. So take care and have a great, great evening.